Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to today's session organized by the IET Young Professionals Sri Lanka Network. This is the sixth session in our webinar series. Over the past 5 sessions, we've explored a variety of topics aimed at supporting and guiding young professionals in their careers and professional growth. Today's topic is building your mental firewall, stay secure against stress and burnout. With increasing demands in both work and life, managing stress and maintaining our mental well being has become more important than ever. The session will focus on practical ways to recognize burnout and protect our mental health. We are pleased to have Ms. Rajika Janoj with us today to lead the session and share her experiences and insights. So let me introduce her. Ms. Rajika Shehana Janoj is a passionate mental health counselor, lecturer, and special needs education specialist dedicated to promoting psychological well-being, inclusive learning, and emotional resilience across communities. Her journey into psychology is driven by a deep sense of purpose to offer care, advocacy, and evidence based interventions to those who are often left unheard. She is currently pursuing a PhD in psychology at Gurn American University, further deepening her commitment to research and advanced therapeutic practice. With a master's degree in psychology of applied behavior change from Cardiff Metropolitan University and a bachelor's degree in special needs education, Ms. Rajika brings both academic excellence and practical experience into every aspect of her work. Ms. Rajika holds professional recognition and accountability through her registrations with the Alternative Medical Council and the Department of Mental Health. Currently, she serves as a medical health counselor at Happy Mind, Yeheli, and Anykind, where she works closely with individuals navigating stress, trauma, neurodiversity, and emotional regulation. Her research has been featured at international conferences, including the International Conference on Social Work, and published in journals such as the International Journal of Research and Innovation in Social Science. We kindly request everyone to keep their microphones muted during the session so that we can clearly hear the speaker without interruption. Thank you so much for your understanding and support. With that, I now hand over the session to Ms. Rajika Janoj. To you, madam.
All right. Thank you very much, Priya, for that introduction. So let's go into our topic without further ado. So as you all are aware, I am going to share my screen, and the topic is to do with mental health, right? So just give me a second while I share my screen. Excellent. I think you guys can see my screen if I'm not mistaken. Yes, if you could see my screen, could you guys like put a thumbs up or something like that? Use all these, you're all IT experts. So
yes, Rajita, we can see screen.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So yeah, I made my screen bigger. Awesome. So yes, as was mentioned, we are going to talk about mental health, and it is a current topic, and we all face different challenges in life. But before I walk into the webinar today, I just want to tell you it's not just listening to me, but also I would like your participation in different aspects. So participation in the sense, though you were asked to keep your microphones muted, I would ask on and off questions. So please use all these emojis that are up there on chat. There is all kinds of emojis there. Please use them to raise your hand, to kind of comment. I would address them to my best of my ability, right? Because it's not just listening, but also this is something that is part of your life and my life. So we're going to do it together, okay? So the topic is building your mental firewall, staying secure against stress and burnout. Now, the reason I chose this as a topic or a headline kind of is because one thing is all of you are into technology and you all are from the engineering section. So we are all on our devices. You all do these computers, systems and hardwares. And this firewall is something part and parcel of your life. So, what is a mental firewall? Before we go there, let's get a bit real into real life. If you look at life in general, for you and for me, we are all dealing with different kinds of stressors, isn't it? We are all given expectations that we have to meet. We are also given, we are working in intense pressure environments, be it in a small office, sometimes be it at home, wherever you are, even if you're studying still at a university, most of us are under intense pressure, not just pressure, right? So when you think of pressure, I would like you to picture the simplest thing in the kitchen, which is a pressure cooker. How many of you actually have seen a pressure cooker? If you have, just raise your hands. How many of you actually have seen a pressure cooker? Just raise your hands. Awesome. So we have some who have seen. Good. Only one. Only one has seen a pressure cooker in the kitchen? I'm sure most of you have. Okay, there we go. Good. I'm happy. I was worried now. Right. Okay, there we are. Awesome. Right. So, what happens in this pressure cooker? Good. My goodness, there is now hands coming out. Right. What actually happens in a pressure cooker? Can somebody unmute and just tell me what happens in a pressure cooker? Anyone? You can raise your hand and maybe I could call out your name. Does anybody know, those of you who raised your hands, what happens in a pressure cooker? Nothing? Okay, so time for you all to get into the kitchen a little bit and check this, okay? So in a pressure cooker, what happens? You put something into boil, it starts boiling inside, it's all condensed into one container, one small space, and it does what it has to do. And then when everything is completely heated up, it can't release its heat. So what does it do? There is a lot of pressure inside it. There's a whistle on top of it. It blows. It signals that, you're supposed to open this. This is it. If you don't open the pressure cooker, it's going to blow up. Right? Then you're going to have a messy kitchen and you're going to have fire happening around it. All right. So that's what a pressure cooker does. So those of you who haven't checked it out, time to go and check out your kitchens, right? So that is how actually our life is, with all the different issues that happen around us, with all the different things that we keep listening. We are inside this small box. We are put into a small box. Sometimes we get into that small box and there is a constant heat that's taking place. There's this circulation of heat that's taking place. And when you can't, you blow up, right? So let's hold on to that thought. I like to read what is written out here about a survey that was done. It says that around 70% of tech students face burnout before they graduate, not after. So it's before. So sometimes if you're studying your degrees or your masters or your PhDs, there is pressure, and before you actually get your qualification, you have come into burnout. So you're going to look at two important aspects today. Number one is stress, and the other one is burnout, because we've all heard this word called stress. So today you're here with me for the next 45 to 50 minutes, not to learn about stress, not to learn about burnout. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you tips on how you can manage yourself, right? And that is why we are here today. Okay, right. Just a small saying which really touched me about carrying a great weight that we all do. It says here clearly that mental pain is not a destination, but a process. It is about how you drive, not where you're going, right? So sometimes we go through so much of stress, we go through burnout, we go through mental trauma, and we think this is it, we're done. There is no moving forward. But remember, it's not a destination, it's actually a process in how you navigate. So that's what you and I are going to learn today, or you and I are going to do, and I'm going to share in ways that you can drive your personal life and your career or navigate your life. Right? So let's look at a few of it. Before we go there, again, back to the pressure cooker experience I was telling you about burnout. How many of you have heard this term burnout? Has anyone heard this term burnout? Or is it new for you guys? Just raise your hands if you've heard the term burnout. Okay, we have a few. Who else has heard the term burnout? Okay, okay, right. Good. I'm happy that you have heard the term burnout, right? People usually mix stress and burnout. Now let's get back to the pressure cooker experience, right? Burnout is when you are overstressed, when your stress is unchecked. So we all go through this thing called stress on a daily basis. You and I deal with stress on a daily basis. Let me give a very simple example. I'm at work, or let's take today's webinar, right? It was supposed to start at 6, right? And I was stressed whether I'm on the right link, whether I had mixed up the date, whether my screen was playing up, I couldn't connect. There were issues, and that causes stress, right? So I was a bit stressed. I was a bit like, what's happening? Am I on the right place? I'm creating a self-doubt in myself, right? That is stress. When that stress is unchecked, when we don't look after that stress over a long period of time, when you don't feel calm at any given point, it can lead to burnout. So just because you come to uni or you come to work and you've had a good day, you're tired and all, and you're like, oh no, I'm tired today, that's not burnout. Remember, burnout is an unchecked stress over a long period of time. Now, when I say long, it means a minimum of 2 to 3 months, right? Not even 6. So 2 to 3 months of unchecked stress is burnout, right? Another term we call this is chronic stress, right? So you can have stress without burnout, but you cannot have burnout without stress. So though it's interrelated, stress leads to burnout, right? So you can have stress and not have burnout if you manage your stress. But if you don't manage your stress, you're going to walk into burnout, right? So a few symptoms that we might feel during for burnout would be, number one is exhaustion and fatigue. Now, what is exhaustion? Even if you have had a tired day, you've done quite a lot, and you feel drained, even after you take your rest. Now, when we say rest, I do come from an IT background. So when you say rest, sometimes the number of sleeping hours are pretty less compared to others, like it would be 3 to 4 hours, right? So a normal person or a person is expected to sleep for a maximum of 6 hours. So when we don't get that sleep, we can feel exhausted or we might feel a bit of fatigue. So even when that happens after you have rested for 6 hours, that could be a sign, right? Now, again, please remember it needs to happen to a maximum of or a minimum of 2 to 3 months continuously. Not January you had this kind of tiredness and then February again. No, continuously, let's say for a week 3 times, the second week another 3 times, and then 4 weeks, third week another 4 times. You keep continuously having this exhaustion or fatigue after a good number of rest. It's something for us to think about, right? The second common symptom that you see is emotional detachment. Now, I've heard many say, I'm an introvert, so I don't, go out, meet people. That's not what we are talking about. We're talking about a distance, a emotional distance in work and at home. So when we say work, of course, we would meet a few people, we get to know somebody, but we emotionally distance ourselves from our work colleagues and even at home. When you see a distance, even at home among people you most love and care, that is a symptom that we need to look out for. The third common symptom that you can see in a continuous prolonged period would be reduction of productivity. Now, when we say reduction of productivity, whatever you do, it could be even just studying and gaining good marks, right? Even something simple as that, or even to the point of trying to create a software and or an application, something like that, your personal productivity level has a decline in themselves. So not you're not comparing yourself to somebody else here. I have my capacity, you would have your capacity. So, whatever each of our capacities are, when there's a reduction of your own productivity level, that is a common symptom. Now, reasons for these or quick things that you could see is when you can't concentrate at work. When you don't have motivation to get to work. Now, this happens, right? When it's a Monday morning, waking up like today and be like, let's get to work, is not that fun, right? But when you see a decrease of motivation in things that you like to do, for example, let's say you're someone who enjoys creating or getting into conversations or having coffee, right? Just the simplest thing as that, right? There's no productivity involved there, but there is motivation involved. When you don't have motivation for simple tasks like this, it can be a symptom. So we've looked at three common symptoms. The fourth one is something that is prominent. Something fourth and fifth are things that you can visibly see even in your friends. Now, this I would really like all of you to pay attention to, because when it comes to mental health or mental well-being, it's not only about me, but it's also about my friend. It's also about someone next to me. It's also about my family. We're looking out for people. So that is mental health. When you take the term mental health, people think, or many think, it's me, how I perform, how I am good in society, how I feel. But it's really not that. Mental health well being is to do with how we are in society. So that's a different topic to discuss. But two things that you could see is your physical symptoms, such as constant headache, constant digestive issues, constant stomach aches, sleeplessness, getting ill, just, a phlegm comes and, a virus and you get a quick attack. So your physique is not ready because you're emotionally falling down, right? So our heart and mind is connected, we know that, but also our heart and our body is connected. Okay, so when you are emotionally feeling low, when you're emotionally not ready to do certain things, your body gives you communication, it gives you signals such as a headache, a stomach ache. Now, another simple example I could use for this is when you have to write an exam, right? We all get stomach cramps most of the time, no? Or we would have a headache, right? Because yes, you're studying, that's one reason. But also, your body is signaling to you. It's a different type of stress that the body is dealing with. So why do we say head? Because there is a nerve system there. Your thinking capacity is up there. So when you start thinking and when you start contemplating on certain things, definitely that is why you have a headache. So your nerves are being activated. Just giving you a little bit of science there, right? The next one is behavior. Now, this is something we can see in ourselves and in others. Of course, I mentioned sleep and food. When you do see changes in your appetite, when you do see changes in your eating patterns, this is something that you might have to take into consideration. Now, the other first 2 points I have put there, irritability and social withdrawal, right? In our behavior, sometimes at work or at school or at university, when someone does something, because we are not emotionally and physically kind of ready, what would happen? We get irritated or we get annoyed for the slightest thing. It could just touch on the wrong nerve. Okay, so when a person is usually not like that, and you see them getting irritated for the slightest thing, they don't want to talk, they are annoyed, they are kind of going into a corner, they would prefer to work alone. When you see a change in behavior, that is something that you could take as a common sign. Now, looking at these common signs for burnout, just want to remember, just because you have it once does not mean you are being labeled as burnout or stress, right? It doesn't happen like that. Again, a prolonged period. So, behavior and physical symptoms, I would say, is something that you could see in yourself and in your friends. So, the more you are aware of this, you could see a change in somebody's behavior, a change in the way they speak, a change in the way they react. All of this could be common signs of understanding what is actually going within themselves, right? So, what are the factors that actually contribute to burnout? We're just going to skim through this, okay? One is workload. Okay, we all have work. Never does, like I would say, a to-do list never gets ticked off, isn't it? You get start ticking, and at the bottom, it just keeps continuing. A to-do list just continues. So excessive workload can become a factor for burnout. Lack of control. Sometimes at work or in life, when you do not or you're unable to gain power over certain decisions, or you feel lost as to what is happening around you, that can create stress. For example, if you are dealing with a project, and you are dealing intensely with that project, and you put your ideas down on the table, you're very passionate about it, and then somebody else comes in who uh, tries to take over the situation and kind of proceeds with a few other ideas around the project. And when you don't, but you need to be on the project because maybe you're one of the main team leaders. When you are in a situation like that, that can cause burnout, because constantly you're going to have this reel of stress in you. So always when you stress, think of this pressure cooker in the kitchen. All right. Third one is unrealistic expectations. Now, this is interesting because we all know our capacities. Most of us know our capacities. We know what we can do. We know how much we can achieve. But sometimes we think we can achieve way better than this. So, what do? We set our own tasks to the next level. So if I say that every day I can complete my work by 5 and I can do about 15 tasks, then next time, like, yeah, I did 15, let me push for 20. Now that's not wrong, but make sure you're aware of your capacity, because if not, this unrealistic expectation can lead to burnout. Now, saying this, we work in environments, or we are among people who also have higher authority than us. So if you're at a work environment, you might have a boss above you. If you're at the uni, you have a professor or a lecturer above you, right? And they might give you some tasks to do. Only if you know your capacity, your passion, your line of work, you'll be able to achieve them. If not, it falls under unrealistic expectation, right? It's like asking the fish to climb a tree. Now, the fish is going to try, but you know what's going to happen to the fish, right? So let's not have unrealistic expectations for us. Let's have practical things that we can work through. All right. All right. Perfectionism. Now, just to add, most of us want to, or people that I've met, we want to do things perfectly. And when it's not done perfectly, it causes stress. So, again, just to repeat, let's be aware of our own capacities. And this is what we can do. That would be positive. Okay? Right. Next one is poor work-life balance. Now, this is something, what do I say? It's a little tough, but you have to make the effort to do it. So, yes, when you're given a task to do it, when you have so many things on your plate to kind of work around, sometimes you don't have a work-life balance, right? We work like one big reel of life, right? Continuous working. So it's not wrong, but it depends on your passion. That's what's important, right? So you need to have a personal life. You need to know what you like to do, what you enjoy doing. That would definitely help you have a work life balance. Now, let me tell you something about my experience. This work life balance was something very hard for me to achieve, and to be honest, still I'm struggling with because I love what I do. So I do work with children, as Priya beautifully explained. That's my passion. But I also work with adults, and I do counseling, I'm lecturing, I'm doing, like a whole roll of activities. But I'm a foodie, right? I love food and I love coffee, right? So I would go out with my friends to have coffee. I would go out to a new restaurant and enjoy some food. I would go out with friends to for a musical concert. These are things that I love. Now, saying that, something that I personally did was I used to do this, but I started doing was in a week we have 7 days, right? 5 days work. The other 2 days also I have work, but I have scheduled it in a way that for the my weekend there is only maximum 4 hours that I would dedicate to a work environment. The rest would be me time, as we call it. So it's important that we have a work life balance and you try to separate it, but also you need to make an effort to do it. It doesn't happen magically, right? Your office wouldn't say, okay, you need to have work life balance. So after 5 o'clock, go home. It's you who needs to set that, right? The other or the final factor that we could talk about is lack of support. So sometimes we don't have colleagues or we may not have friends who would support us in our work environments. Now, when that happens, genuinely, it can be very traumatizing, as you might call it, right? But just to help you understand how important it is to have colleagues who support you, in environments that I have worked and currently I'm working, it's not easy because we all work in different departments. But just being able to vent out what you're feeling, just being able to listen to somebody or ask somebody is a huge support. Now, when you say support, it's not just about let's do this together, give me an answer to the problem. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at support, which means when you're going through a terrible situation, when you have so much anxiety in you, it's very, very difficult. You just need someone to, make a cup of coffee for you, kind of talk it out and just listen to you. That support goes a long way in reducing burnout. When that's not there, what happens to us? We start thinking, 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 and that leads to chronic stress, which alone leads to burnout, right? All right. I'm just going to hold on to that point while I just show you this important slide of the firewall, right? So think of your mind as a computer. For the computer not to crash, we need a firewall. Similarly, today I'm going to show you 4 ways, just 4 simple ways that we are going to block or create mental firewalls to block out stress and awareness. Right? Awesome. So here you go. This is your mental firewall. Those of you who want can take a picture. Those of you who want to write it down, it's fine. It really helps you to create peace of mind, right? So the 4 mental firewalls that we have are awareness, boundaries, recovery, and support system. So I'm going to talk about it to you. After we talk about the 4 mental firewalls, I will show you the stages of mental distress. All right? Okay, so let's go on. Awareness. Now, of course, all of you are aware of antivirus, right? Can anybody tell me why do y'all install antivirus into your computer system? If you can raise your hand, I could call out your name. Anyone? It would be nice to hear from you. Why do you install antivirus into your computer system? Okay, there's somebody who has put a chat. LAHS Pereira, thank you very much. You have asked a question, so I'm going to hold on to that question and we'll answer them towards the end. All right. Yes, you install antivirus to prevent damage to the system. Excellent. Anybody else? Why do we install an antivirus? Come on, you should be like this on your answers. Can someone? I'm going to wait till you answer, okay? Why do we install an antivirus? Anyone? Okay. You're going to be patient, right? Remember, I'm a psychologist, so I can be patient. But anyone, just there's no, I mean, you know the answer, not me. You're an expert on this. Why do you install an antivirus? You're able to, Priya, they can unmute, right? If they, yeah, I think they
Yes,
can.
yes, they can.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Thank you. Um, anyone? No? We're all going to go with what's this girl's name? LAHS Pereira's answer. Is that how we're doing it? Okay. To prevent damage to the system. Right. So antivirus helps you first scan the issue in your computer. So these are a few antivirus that I'm aware of, right? I'm sure you all know more kind of names and stuff like that. But just to let you know, antivirus is something that, yes, it's installed for prevention, but what does it do first? It clearly identifies or scans for issues. It's the same thing with us, right? We need to first scan ourselves. We need to first be aware of what we are feeling. Only then we will know whether we are in stress or whether we are in burnout. Till that, you and I wouldn't know much. Okay, so 3 questions that I have put simple. Am I feeling overwhelmed currently? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I snapping at people? Right? Am I eating well? Do I wake up on time? Am I able to check in on my emotions? So on and off, you need to do a check-in of yourself. And that is what is your first mental firewall. So remember an antivirus. We need an antivirus to scan any problems or malwares that are around us and not to scan when there is when the computer is almost shutting down, right? We need an antivirus installed before we even access any kind of a pen drive. I know about this pen drive story because when I give a pen drive, the first thing that's always asked is there virus? Right? And then they'll be like, no, I have the best antivirus, so it'll detect. Before you even open the folders on the pen drive, the antivirus comes up and says, this is corrupted. Don't open it. It's not safe for you. Your computer is at risk, right? It's the same with us. You and I need to catch these stress symptoms, as we call it, at the start, at the early stage, not when things start flaring up. Okay, so that's your first mental firewall, right? The second, sorry, The second one is boundaries. Now, as young ones, you all would have heard this term boundaries. We need to have boundaries. Yeah, correct. I agree with you. We need to have lots of boundaries in life. But if you look at the picture that I have given you, in a firewall, what happens? From the internet to the server, the unnecessary or not unauthorized sites are being blocked automatically, right? Automatically, you are blocking these not accepted sites. So, what is a mental boundary or a mental firewall you would make here is when you recognize that this is not healthy for me, this environment is not good for me, these people are putting me down, it's affecting me, it's toxic, right? There's so much of distractions here. I'm unable to focus on my real life. You move away. You block yourself from that outside attack that's coming. You create that block. So, this is me. I'm creating a wall in me saying, I'm not going to let you hurt me. I'm not going to let you touch me. I'm not going to let your thoughts, your influences come into me. If you open your boundary, it's going to seep in. And of course, you know what happens to network? It crashes. So let's not do that. Let's create our own personal boundaries. Now, when you say personal boundaries, this is actually a different whole topic, but again, you have to be aware of what you like, what you don't like, right? I do not encourage people putting me down emotionally. I'm not ready for it. I don't encourage it. I would listen to them. They could be my good friends. I would listen to them. They would be there for me. But what would I do? I would not let them affect my thoughts, right? So I create that wall. I create that block. I don't give permission. I create that boundary. I'm not going to give them permission to come into me. So that's your second one. 1 minute. That is your second mental firewall. So the first one is awareness, like the antivirus. The second one is the boundary, the physical wall that you are creating. The third one is recovery. So recovery is a system, I would say, that we have to all have in place because we all crash. At certain points, we all do crash, especially when you are in an intense pressure environment. It's natural to crash, right? But how you recover, how you reboot yourself and come back, right? So I was talking to somebody about this rebooting system, and I was like, okay, what do you understand by reboot and what is this about? And this is what they told me. Sometimes the computer needs updates. It needs recharging itself. It needs an whole adjustment to just get itself back. We're not deleting anything in the computer here. We are not completely, erasing and starting something new. We're going to reboot. We're going to get a bit of energy into it. So, right? So it's important that we reboot ourselves, that we create a recovery method. So a simple thing that I have said is we all know if you run a computer or a laptop 24/7 on a plug point, on some internet protocol, or a complete electronic device, it's going to get heated up and it's going to crash. So what would you do? You would give it some gap. You would give it some time. Okay. So simple thing that we encourage even at offices and at work environments is give yourself breaks. So if you're working for a 90-minute session, take a 20-minute break, take a 10-minute break, just walk. When you say break, We don't sit back and check on our phones, scroll on the Instagram, go on Facebook. That's not what we're saying. We're saying walk, leave your premises, go to another completely different environment, go for a walk, take a coffee, drink some water, move from that place is what we're doing. So you're getting up, recharging yourself, and coming back into that area again, right? So walking, stretching, breathing, all of this takes place in recovery mode. The fourth um, mental firewall would be for you is a support system. Like I told you before, and we spoke about it, it's important to have a support system with us, right? So, what kind of a support system? Now, this OneDrive and iCloud, cloud, all of that is our support because even if your computer crashes, you have it all saved on cloud. What is your emotional cloud? Do you have a friend who you could speak to? Somebody not in your work environment, somebody not at uni, somebody outside? Do you have someone who will be always there for you just to listen to you? We all need this emotional support. Only when you have this emotional support, you will be able to recharge yourself. All right. So I've given you 4 mental firewall tips. The first one, awareness, just like antivirus. Second one, we're going to do boundaries, just like a physical firewall. You create boundaries for yourself. Third one is recovery. So you're rebooting your system. Fourth one is your support system, which is cloud-based for you. Right. So I've tried to connect technology into psychology, as we call it. All right. Does anybody have any questions till now? Anyone? No. Awesome. So what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you a small technique. Uh, it's called debug, right? You've all heard about debugging, right? So changing your negative uh, self-talk to positive self-talk, right? Simple. Now, in a debug situation, what happens is you first identify the problem. Then, if you look at the picture that I have kind of given to you here, you try to look at the system, then you check the system, then you look at what the errors are, you find it, and you correct it. And that is what we're going to do today. So, we're going to debug our thoughts. We're going to have these negative self talk. Sometimes we uh, bring about on ourselves, we're going to turn it into positive thoughts, right? Okay, so this is what I have in front of you, right? We have 10. So I'm going to do the first one for you. Sometimes we tell ourselves, I am not good enough, okay? We're going to reframe this into positivity. We're going to bring it as to when you hear you saying this to yourself, you can go in the line of, I'm still learning, and that's okay. Right? So when you say, I'm not good enough, you hear somebody say that to you, or you sometimes when you're doing something, um, you will say, sometimes it comes to us, right? Not, and you feel you're not good enough. You can say, I'm still learning, and that's okay. Right? Can someone do the second one for me? Everyone else is smarter than me. Can somebody reframe this for me? How does it work? Who can give it a try? It's a very important skill. It's like debugging your thoughts. When we do have, it's natural to have negative thoughts in us. It's not like, oh no, I'm having, no. It's natural to have negative thoughts in us. But how are you going to change it into positive thoughts? So when you hear the word, I'm not good enough because you don't feel great, you can go into, I'm still learning, and that's okay. Can someone try the someone else is smarter than me? Anyone who likes to give it a try? Okay, we have something on the chat. Nice. Uh, Excellent. Thank you very much. It's good that I have some smart friends. I really like that. Good. I would take it also as I bring my own strengths to the table. Right? Good. Next one. I have to be perfect. Who could change that? Who could change it to I have to be perfect? I would like to see how you're changing this. Give it a try. You could go as progress is. Yes, thank you very much. I'm committed to growth and mistakes help me improve. Excellent. Nothing is perfect. I really like it. Superb. The third one, I have to be perfect. Yes, you can go with nothing is perfect. That is something that's nice. I failed, so I must be a failure. What do you think of that? Anyone? I failed, so I must be a failure. Yeah, we have somebody else. But I should, excellent, thank you. I should learn from this. Failures are the pillars of success. I love what's happening. Awesome. We have more coming in. Everyone fails sometimes. It's okay to fail and learn. Good, excellent. Another one that I really thought was I failed at this attempt, but not as a person. So I'll try again. Okay. So thanks, guys. I'm really proud of the team, kind of getting involved in the activity. Yes, we can sometimes hear ourselves saying these things. We can sometimes, um, you know, people can say it to us at times. We can tell ourselves this. And what happens is when you hear negative self talk, it automatically starts putting you down. And if you look at the picture here, it says broken. And the two letters in the middle is okay. We want you to be okay. And that is what positive self talk is all about. So, this is a quick analogy on IT versus psychology. Just a few things that I looked at. So, blocking unauthorized traffic, like the mental firewall that we spoke about. Of course, the version for that is we block overscheduling or work creeping, and through this you prevent burnout. Allow maintenance time, which would be on the mental health version, we would look at it as allow moments of silence, meditation, or solitude, and that in turn will give you a mental reset. Installing software updates, regularly safeguarding yourself, which keeps you emotionally safe, and you would have emotional coping skills. All right. So, this is just for you to have like an analogy on how you could use, because you guys are into engineering. So, you think of it and then try to have your emotional check-ins always on par. But mainly, I want you to really remember the four mental firewall ideas that we had: awareness, boundary, recovery, and a support system. Right? So, five tips I like to give before I kind of wrap up for the day. I'm not going to keep you all for long, be hearing me for quite a long time. So, five tips that I would like to set here is set clear boundaries. Keep your times within limits. You should know your limits. After this, I'm doing this. After this, I'm doing this. During this time, I'm not going to do this. Right? Second, important is practice emotional check ins. Always keep checking on how am I feeling? Do I really want this? Do I really need this? Am I okay? What's my mood tracking? All of that comes into emotional checkings. Third one is taking breaks. Like I told you, the 90-20 rule. If you work for 90 minutes, take a 20-minute break, right? It really helps you to reboot. It helps you to get back. So even if not at work, but even if you are at home, you have very difficult situation, try these techniques. It really helps. Fourth, connect with your support network. Look out for friends, share your struggles, see what your debugging system is. Speak to counselors if you have to, but find friends who are going to stand by you. Number five, keep your brain backed up. What does that mean? Always, I repeat, always have good food, balanced food, hydration, sleep, very important for your physical. Have meditation, journaling, and of course, take away yourself from screen time. That's something very hard to say, but that's something we'll have to practice. Um, right. So, also to help you, if you can't remember anything what I said, you could just remember this. If you're feeling really stressed and you don't know what to do, you're lost, like the computer, input, process, output. What is my stress trigger now? What's triggering me? Why am I this anxious? How am I going to handle that stress? And finally, what will help me do better or feel better? Just remember that. This is something for you to take home, even if you have forgotten everything that I've spoken to you for the past 45 to 50 minutes. I just want you to remember this. Input, process, output. What are my triggers? How do I handle it? And what makes me feel better? So just to conclude, I'm associated with this place called Anykind. And if you want to get further help or kind of information, you can check out our website, which is anykind.org. And of course, that's our contact number. Thank you very much. If you guys do have any questions, I think we could ask. And there was one question up here. I'll just address that. Priya, is that okay if I address it?
Yes, madam, sure.
Yeah. How do you know your limit? Our limit in the sense of a maximum. Very good question. So you would know your maximum limit only when you come to the trigger point, right? When you do something, you're passionate, you're achieving, you're going to the next level, you keep on achieving. At one given point, you're like, this is it. I can't do anymore. It's really hard. I'm stressing. That's when you come to a standstill. Then you start thinking, can I push myself to do a little more or should I not? So you get to know about yourself when you actually, when you experience different um, things that go on in our life, right? Another interesting question that has come out is how to avoid what other people think of me. Now, that's actually a reframing thought, right? A quick question to whoever asked this. We don't live for others, do we? We live for ourselves, right? So if you feel somebody else is thinking about you, saying something or feeling something that's not okay about you, it's something for you to analyze yourself. Why is this person feeling like this? Is it actually about them or is it actually about me? Did I do something that's not okay? Or is it somebody else who had done it and they are not comfortable, right? So either we adjust to them or we take a back seat and be like, I'm not going to allow that mental fireball, my boundary to break. This is me. I'm nice to people, but I'm not going to let other people break me. All right. Few more questions coming in. Right. Good question. If there is no support system in the office environment, what can I do to reduce stress? Very good question. You need to seek help. Like I said, we do have a contact number. You can reach out to that. You need to seek help and try out the other techniques, such as breathing techniques, meditation techniques. Now, as a counselor, I haven't brought these techniques out to you and put it out there because it doesn't work for everybody, right? Just because I tell you there is a breathing technique, and this is how you do it, it's not going to work for everyone. Each person's stress environment is different. So, according to that, you need to adjust your mental firewall system, right? But it would be best if you could reach out to counselors or psychologists to get the appropriate help that you require. All right. Uh, right. So, like I said, same thing. I would like to say is yes, I gave you four mental firewalls and 5 techniques that you all could use during. So I could maybe run to those slides for you. Right? Setting clear boundaries, emotional check-ins, rebooting yourself, support system, and of course, your backup, which is meals, hydration, and good sleep. Right? Keep those intact and reach out to people who can actually help you. Right? Right. That's an interesting question. How do I focus on a certain task without distractions? Watching reels. Set your boundaries. That's my answer to you. Set your boundaries. I do that. I mean, I get on, when I get on social media, I would immediately, okay, I'm not going to check this, and this. I'm only going to do this. Set your boundaries and stick to your boundaries. That's the key. Set your boundaries and stick to your boundaries. Only when you stick to them, they become worthwhile boundaries. So I think I've answered. Yeah. Yes, I could send the presentation across. I will speak to your coordinator and definitely I can send it across. It's not a problem for me. All right. It's information that I share. So I think, Priya, I have answered all the questions that have come out here. And thank you very much. And I hope it was beneficial and useful to the team that had joined in today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Rajika, for that insightful session. Today, we learned about the signs of stress and burnout, and more importantly, how we can take practical steps to manage our mental well being. It's a topic that often gets overlooked, but one that affects all of us in different ways. So, before we wrap up, if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Are there any other questions? Anyone? Okay. If there are no more questions, with all that, we'll bring today's session to a close. So a very big thank you to our speaker, Ms. Rajika Janoj, for sharing her knowledge with us, and to all of you for joining and participating. We hope to see you again at one of our future sessions. Until then, take care and stay well.